one of the main things that needs to change with the community and the police is that there needs to be some type of conversation going on. There needs to be a space where these police officers can come to, along with the community, and they could just kick it and try to figure out how they can understand each other. Because the biggest problem is that there's this misunderstanding. How we dress, how we talk, the same way we don't understand them. We don't know where they come from. They don't come from our neighborhoods most of the time. So right away they're fearful of how we interact with each other. So I think the best thing that can happen is if there's forums created that everyone is accepted and they can sit down and actually have these conversations, because you're assuming that they know what we are about and you're putting them in this neighborhoods to police us, but they don't know who we are. They don't know how we act. So right away, they come in with their hand on their gun, thinking that whatever they heard or their superiors told them, yo, be careful with these dudes, you know, whatever. So if we create this forum where we can invite them and have conversations, the understanding is what hopefully will stop all of this nonsense, because they getting these pressure from up top saying this is how you police these people, but in reality, if they really interact with us and they get to know us, then they know that that's not the way to do it. The best way to do it is to have conversations with us, and that's where change happens. But it has to happen locally. It's not about implementing laws and this and that. It's about having human interaction. Yeah, he's a police officer, she's a police officer, they have on this uniform, but when they take that uniform off, they're human beings. You know, and we have to get back to that humanity and not just like look at them as just a shell or just, you know, and the same way that they can't look at us as animals. They got to understand why we are a certain way. Why do we talk a certain way? What needs to happen in the communities in order to stop the violence is there needs to be more programs put into place where these kids have an outlet. There needs to be a space for them to express what they're dealing with. There needs to be a safe space for them to feel that it's okay for them to talk about what they're going through without feeling that they're gonna be judged. There needs to be a space where there's mentorships going on. There needs to be a real effort put into place where these kids actually have a safe haven that they're gonna learn how to interact with one another and not be fearful with one another. Like it needs to be there needs to be these programs implemented, so money needs to be put into that. You know, otherwise all they're doing is they're being manipulated. There's always higher things happening, or so if you have programs put into place where you're giving these kids an opportunity to see a vision, to see that there is hope, to see something. Right now, there's no hope. They don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, so they don't care what's gonna happen tomorrow. They don't see themselves surpassing a certain age. It's like all these things that are put into place, and the reason why is because they're in their little bubble. Maybe it's taking these kids, getting money together, taking these kids on a trip to go to somewhere like Serbia, or to go somewhere where it's real war happening and real conflict happening, but yet you see that these people are making an effort to try to get together and try to work with each other, because it's not going to come from a higher position, because a lot of times the way this system is happening is because that's the way it's supposed to be. It was the way that it's put into place. So we have to take action, and we have to take alternative routes and try different things. There's no blueprint. I can't tell you an exact answer, but that could be one way. You know, how we take them to class trips and stuff like that. Take them on a trip to another country to meet other kids, to interact with other kids, to see how maybe these kids live with almost, they maybe don't have half the things that they have, or don't even care about getting those things, but they still able to flourish. They're able to dream and dream again, and which these kids are growing up too fast. They're not able to dream anymore. They're just living in fear. So you put a group of kids together to live together in fear, they're gonna try to kill themselves. The survival of the fittest. It's certain programs that need to be put in place. Yes, the art, music, you know, the therapy, you know, these kids are dealing with trauma. There's no, adjustments need to be made, right? People need to adapt. There's always things happening. You need to learn to adapt and learn to make adjustments. Sometimes you need that extra help to make those adjustments. And if you don't have it, then the cycle continues. So there's a lot of things that need to be put in place, but I believe that programs that implement all those things and like that give the opportunity, like the things that I mentioned. So one of the things that I do when I go to, say, penitentiary, right, these kids, I don't know exactly why they're in there. I'm not allowed to ask that question, but I know there's kids from like 13 years old to about 17 years old, and I get to talk with them. First, I'll perform something, or if it's not a penitentiary, it could be a high school. For example, me and Ace went to a high school recently. We've done a couple of these where we go to the high school and we'll talk to them, we'll perform something, and then we'll encourage them to express themselves, whether it's writing, somebody making a track or making a beat on something, but we encourage them to work together to create something, to create a story. And we tell them that everyone has a story that's worthy of hearing and getting out there, and that they can inspire other people. We try to empower them so that they don't see themselves as lesser, that they see themselves as powerful. And so one of the things is definitely writing. Like, that's one thing. You might not be good at writing, but your boy might be good at writing. You can, you know, share stories and then put that down. Or, you know, your homegirl could be good at making beats or whatever. It's like, it's creating a hub for them to be creative together, like, to work together. So I think that through the arts, they can do that. And writing is one thing that I do with these kids. Like, I get them to express themselves as a team, and then one person gets up and performs it. And then maybe I can like help them to actually perform it. So it goes from writing it to saying it to actually like living it, creating characters around what they're saying. So all those things, this is a creative process that it makes them feel like they're doing something and they're creating, and breaks them out of that hole that they're in.